Kanpai!
Welcome everyone to today's episode. It's episode 23 of Kanpai Cast, where we have a special guest, Adam. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So your requested topic was hidden gems, which I think is going to be really fun. But I mean, go ahead and tell us, like, what do you do on the internet? What is your passion?
So I'm a millennial, so I'm an ancient anime weeb. Right now, I'm a little less involved with mainstream anime these days as I shift over to tabletop RPGs. But if you've seen my work bounced around the internet, then you're probably familiar with Folklore, which is a supernatural horror or superhuman horror webcomic that I've been working on for several years. I also do D&D adventures and a lot of D&D world building, some minis painting, freelance stories here and there. I've got a few horror and fantasy shorts out there. I'm all over the place. If it's got words and stories and fantasy somewhere in there, I'm on board. I'm in it.
That's awesome. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, but I think we should start out with the housekeeping. What do you think, Xeno and Laws?
Yeah.
All right. So if you are a supporter watching this on early access, the timestamps may not be ready yet. But for everyone watching at the normal time, you can navigate to any section you want using the timestamp or chapter feature. We've adjusted the music and audio, so now everything should sound better. We actually spent a little while on that last week. Xeno won't sound louder than the rest of us and peek his mic every chance he gets, but he does get very excited still, so,
I do.
Be ready for that. Laws is going to be absent for a bit in the next couple of months, and as a result, it's going to be just me and Xeno carrying the ship along. But don't worry, he'll return when he's settled in his new place. Good luck on that, Laws. I wish you all the best.
Laws, I miss you.
Everyone loves Laws. We've got a new banner for the channel. It was amazingly put together by our dear friend Thaylien, who painstakingly cut out all the images, and it looks amazing. It really, really looks good. You're gonna love it. You can see it on Twitter and on the main YouTube channel. And that does it for the housekeeping. We've also got a little news this week. We've actually got 3 pieces of news. Xeno knows what one of them is.
It's fine.
Legendary Entertainment announced on the 20th that it is producing a new series featuring Godzilla and the Titans for the Apple TV Plus, a streaming service, The series explores, quote-unquote, the mythic legacy of a world in which monsters are real, and is reported to center on, quote, one family's journey to uncover its buried secrets and a legacy linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. So we're doing it about the humans again and not the monsters, is essentially what I'm getting from this. Laws really has opinions on that.
Why can't they let the things that the show is about be the things what the show is about?
Right. So Osaka, Hyogo, and Kyoto join 13 other prefectures in requesting a quasi-state of emergency amid the rise of new COVID infections in the country due to good old Omicron. While these quasi-states have less strict guidelines than, a full state, there is still the possibility of disrupting anime production as more and more voice actors and animators report infections. When I was scrolling through the feed, I saw a lot of those pop up.
Yeah, I think because you're pretty much going to get Omicron, even if you don't know you got it, you're going to get it because it's just so infectious. So
it really is.
So I could see some disruptions this year.
And finally, when people might already know about, an Italian Senate Zoom meeting was interrupted on Monday when a fan-made pornographic CGI video... to be clear, this is 2 Mondays ago when the episode airs.
Okay.
But
the people must know.
Yes.
Yeah.
When a fan-made pornographic CGI video of the Final Fantasy VII character Tifa Lockhart hijacked the shared video feed, the clip played for roughly 30 seconds before being shut off, and the meeting was streamed live on Facebook and on the Senato della Repubblica TV channel, which broadcasts live proceedings from the Italian government. So, Real good there.
There's worse, right? Like there are worse characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have seen it though, and I'm just gonna say.
You're not. No, you're not. You're not saying
expect
anything.
Something that's in it. So just say that she might have a little surprise, little extra.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're gonna leave this one too.
What is innocence? Right.
Oh.
Okay. Should we start talking about our episode? We're talking about the hidden gems.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Quite a few good ones this week, I think.
Sorry, can we pause real quick?
Sure.
Yep. Sorry, yeah, we noticed we forgot to turn the music on. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I reached out to Adam a couple of months ago now. I can't remember how long ago it was. And I gave you a list of topics and I asked what topics would you like, and you went for hidden gems. So taking the opportunity to talk about stuff that may not necessarily be known in the mainstream of like anime and things, what people may or may not know about, So who wants to start us off, or should I start us off with a specific show that I think should have caught the eye of the audience, but just genuinely hasn't?
I want to know you. Yeah. You could start.
Okay, cool. Right, I'm gonna go with one, and I'm gonna go with this series called Good Luck Girl, or Bingbao Gamiga. And this image really hits the nail on the head. So this is a comedy series where the main character, she is just so unbelievably lucky that she's causing a disturbance in the force, so to speak. She's disturbing the world order, and she's just, she's not intentionally doing it, it's just happening. And a deity, a goddess of misfortune, is sent to relieve our main protagonist from all her luck. And antics ensue. But one of the best things about this series is it's so self-aware. It takes the piss out of itself and its peers. The first screenshot we had moments ago is the character trying to disguise themselves so that they can't be found out. So, for example, the character with the pink hair, she's had an altercation with our main character, the girl with the pink top, and it turns out that she's a girl that goes to the same school, not only the same school, but the same class. She's just been a rebel and not turned up to school for a while. And when our main protagonist discovers that she is in the same class, she disguises her features, there we go, to look like Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, so not to be recognized. But the next thing is, the goddess of misfortune, which is sat right next to her, notices this and decides to like join in, and she becomes all like rugged and manly, and then all of a sudden all the other characters, it becomes like an infection, and all the other characters in the classroom start doing this.
I saw that screenshot. I had no idea what was going on.
Yes, yeah. So it's basically one character's trying to like pretend not to, it's like, I'm not the person you think I am, and it turns into this like spread of an infection. Like, what the hell's going on? And yeah, it's absolutely. This series is so self-aware. It is so funny, and in all honesty, it was such a shame that it never got a second season. It actually has a teaser at the end of the last episode hinting at stuff that could happen in the second season. It just never got one. And it's such a crying shame.
That sucks.
Yeah. If you've got Funimation, or the internet, Go check it out. Go check out Good Luck Girl, or the Japanese name Bimbao Gamiga. It's totally worth a watch.
No,
Does anyone
it's only, honestly, it's really quite. It's got a likable protagonist. There's a bit more to it than what Xeno said. It's more. So she's super lucky, but it's also that she drains the luck from people around her, is where her luck is coming from.
Yeah.
So if she was to go on a trip through an entire country, she drained a little bit of luck from everyone. That wouldn't cause anything. But if she spends a lot of time with an individual for a long time, she'll drain the luck of them, and they'll start just having bad things happen to them. Like they'll just suddenly fall ill, or they'll trip down some stairs or something. So but she's not mean to it. She doesn't want to lose her luck.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
It's given her a lot of success in life, but she doesn't mean to hurt the people around her. So it's got a deeper thing to that. And obviously, as you saw the one scene with all those animals and things, there's a bit of hijinks ensue with all the kind of stuff happening. But at the same time, she's just trying to get on with her normal school life and just live her life. So it's grounded as well as having some fantastical elements. It's a good comedy.
You say normal, but she has like the perfect school life that she doesn't want to give up.
Yeah, because all the luck she's acquired. Yeah. But then the best character, I feel, is the god of misfortune, which is the character who's our protagonist really trying to take the luck from her. It's just such a funny character. You haven't got many screenshots of her, but you just see this character with perpetually her arm is in a bandage.
Yeah,
she's not well liked, not doesn't look amazing or anything, and it's just a great character in every episode.
Yeah,
it's got that weird headband.
Yes, that is a very weird headband. Yeah.
At first, I thought she was wearing panties on her head. I was like, "What is going on here?" And then I noticed it's a tail that goes off.
I am a ghost headset thing. I am a spiritual ghost thing.
Cool. Right. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm surprised I've never heard of this.
Yeah. It was Sunrise Entertainment, which also do things like Gundam and stuff. So again, it was just like, honestly, it just got so overshadowed. I don't know what else came out in 2012 that just completely outshone it. But such a good series, and I strongly recommend, if you want a good laugh, and especially a series that takes the piss out of itself and breaks the fourth wall, go check it out. It's just so funny. Like this scene right here, the scene that was right there, with all like the weird white animals and the samurai zombie looking people. Basically the scene is that the goddess of misfortune ends up summoning the dead to fight to retaliate against our main protagonist. The dead just go, yeah, I don't want to take these orders. I was just happy being dead. I mean, now you've brought me back, I'm just going to go chill out and watch TV and things. And they just completely ignore her. So like the whole conflict just sort of fizzles out, and they just start hanging out in the main protagonist's living room. It's like, no, this is not how this should work. So yeah.
No, it was a good one. Right, should we move on to another one?
Okay, who wants to go next?
I can do one of mine.
Cool. Which one would you like to do?
I'm gonna do the one that when you gave me the list of shows, made me say, yeah, this is the one I want to be on, and that's Yakitate Japan. This is it's the best show.
Okay, I honestly struggled to find screenshots for this one.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, so this is the show that when people, it's definitely a show that you can't give to someone who like hasn't seen anime before or doesn't have like a little bit of a history with anime, because it's a very self-aware comedy that constantly references other shows within it, but not in an obnoxious way. It's kind of the like OG cooking anime, and this is a show that's really popular at the time in the bread industry because it is a cooking anime about bread. It's about this boy who grows up in like bum country Japan, and he one day eats bread and decides, this is incredible. What's Japan's bread? Because every country has their own bread, right? Like the French have French bread. What's Japan's bread? And because he's in the country and he doesn't have exposure to like actual bread culture, he ends up inventing all of these breads that already exist, but he does it on his own. So he's this bread genius, and there is this bread company, because it's kind of like a martial arts tournament arc anime too. So there's a bread company called Pantasia that's like hiring, and like the best of the best like new bakers have to prove themselves and like show that they have like the perfect baking skills. And it turns out that the main character Azuma possesses the solar hands, or the hands of the sun, and because his hands are slightly warmer, he is capable of fermenting bread at a faster rate, which makes his meals more delicious.
Oh my god!
So there's all kinds of like that very typical like shonen nonsense, but it's a comedy, and the cool thing about it is that it explains the baking nonsense that it's using. So there's never a time where like someone makes like delicious bread because it's just better. Like he's just made it better. Like they explain the process behind like why it's better, what ingredients are in it, how long they've baked it for. And there's a whole cast of people that have like secret baking techniques and, you know, powerful baking passed down from generation to generation. And one of the biggest parts of the show is the judges, because the idea is that the bread that you eat in like any of these like modern cooking shows, like the reactions, like people explode or their clothes explode off, right? But in this show, the bread manifests its feeling inside of you. So I can't give away too much, because I would love for you to all to watch the show, and the reactions are like the best part of it. But there are episodes where like the biggest and best reaction is early on in the show. There's a croissant that gets made, and it's so good that it like manifests the shape of the moon into the judge, who then like his body contorts and he becomes the moon, and like he's explaining like why it's so good. There's then this is where like other animes start to reference in. There's an episode where like
that looks like Gendo. Tell me that's a reference to Gendo.
Yes, like there's a Black Tri-Stars reference in the show. There is a Fist of the North Star reference in the show where they say you're already bread. It's so good.
Okay.
I cannot sell the show hard enough. It's a show that did make it over. I think it did make it to cartoon, the Toonami block. So I think it did get some US exposure, but like, it's just one of those shows that like when people talk about like cooking animes that are like largely fan service, but in like the sexy kind of way that's just pure nonsense. Like it's such a smart show. It's such a good show. This show is like so many good laughs.
So one question I have, as you've made reference to like Food Wars, have you seen Food Wars?
I've seen a bit. I'm anime picky.
Right.
I don't like when a show is trying to like sell me skin and be like, this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted to see. And so, I'm not interested.
So categorically, hands down, this is superior to Food Wars.
Yeah, like this is what like this is just good humor. Like this is just a solid comedy anime. And if you had to break down, like anime comes in all these different subcategories. To me, this is like the king of like cooking anime. Like there's other great shows and all that in between, but this one did it first to me, and it just did it so well.
So I'm just checking. 69 episodes. So this was actually going on for quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah. Three or four seasons.
Wow.
That's
final
awesome.
season's a little but the 3 seasons that lead up to that they're incredible.
I think I'm gonna have to give this one a go.
I know. As soon as you said a bit about the hands and the kneading of the bread with that, they've solar hands. Something. I know I've seen a few episodes of this years ago, but I always wanted. I remember that one facet of features just remained in my head. It's like, wasn't there an anime about some guy with like super cool hands that could just like cook food as he did stuff with it? And I couldn't remember what it was. So yeah, nice that I'm like, right, it's good. I'm gonna have to check this out now.
It does sound
like
amazing.
His hands is like blood flow or something means that his hands are super warm, so that when he kneads the dough, he activates the yeast before it's going in the oven or something. Isn't it something like that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And other people have other hand styles as well.
Oh,
For,
really?
Like, kneading and yeah, there's an entire like the same way that like there's martial arts like fighting styles. Like there's a whole library of like secret techniques and all this other stuff. Azuma, the main character, knows none of it. He's just making food. But everyone else around him is like, wow, this boy, does he have the gift?
It's a shonen anime mixed with Iron Chef.
Yeah, except it's only bread.
Yeah,
Only bread.
Today's secret ingredient is bread again.
There's training arcs. There's every. I think it's like mostly tournament arcs. Like it's incredible. It's mind blowing.
It does sound amazing.
Does it end on a satisfactory point though? I just want to check because you said that last season was a bit iffy.
Yeah, I think it's only iffy because it's one of those shows where, it's kind of like, I don't know if anyone else picked this, but Yu Yu Hakusho, like, there's a point where everyone says that the demon tournament arc is the best because after that, like, where do you go? Like, when the show peaks, it hits.
Yeah. Right.
There is a final reaction in this show that is so crazy and hilarious that after that, everything else is almost like, it didn't beat that last one, and you don't want it to necessarily, but at the same time, you're like, man, like how the resolution was so good at this last storyline. Like everything else just kind of feels like it's like tying loose ends at the very
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Who wants to go next?
I think I will take one that is possibly not quite so hidden a gem. It's. I think it was more popular back in the day than it is now, and that is Serial Experiments Lain. So, the name is Serial Experiments, and it really is very experimental, right? So it was released in '98. It was the early days of the internet. It tries to kind of explore the ideas of like what could all these communication networks that we've built up over time give rise to. Like could something exist inside of them? Like kind of like a Ghost in the Machine, right? But but it also dives into like philosophy, like what is the self? Is the self your body? Is the self your brain? Is the self something else entirely? So it's very esoteric, and I think that might turn off a lot of people, which might be why I don't hear a lot of people talking about it today. I heard way more people talk about it way back in the early days. But I think if you're interested at all in topics of philosophy or what's a good word for the whole communication networks angle? Like our evolving communication, the way we talk to each other, the way we interact with each other. I think it's a really good one to check out.
You need to fit the word paradigm into that sentence somewhere.
Paradigm, yes.
I'll super agree with this choice. I loved Serial Experiments Lain when it first came out. It was on the forefront of asking like a lot of techie, like what do we do with this new era that's upon us?
If you can put yourself in the internet, what happens? What does this lead to?
Yeah. This was when it came out, I was in high school, and I didn't understand 90% of the concepts being presented here. But this was wild. Like I really enjoyed this show, and it's got a banger of intro.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I tried to watch this like years and years ago when I first like started university and stuff, and I don't know if I just couldn't. Yeah, maybe it was too serious.
Maybe
I want to say
you sometimes
depressing.
Don't really go for the more esoteric stuff, do you? Like the stuff that's really weird, like Paranoia Agent.
No, I like Paranoia Agent, but
okay.
I mean, the thing with Paranoia Agent, I feel that Paprika did it better, right? And. Yes. I don't know. I think I struggled when I first started watching Serial Experiments Lain, and I think maybe it was just a simple case of that there were so many other options. But I will say, like, I ended up watching Akira again recently because I watched Akira around the same time I watched this. I watched Akira again recently, and I was just like, Christ, there is so much more to Akira.
Yeah, there is.
Than I actually thought there was.
It goes so deep.
Maybe Lain is just something that I would appreciate more being older.
I think this is a show that you don't watch for resolutions. Like original Evangelion, like you don't watch that show because you want like a satisfying conclusion that wraps up everything, right? You watch some shows to ask yourself questions. This is one of those shows.
Okay.
I actually recently learned that there's a interactive video game for, I think, the PlayStation 2. It might have been the PlayStation, but I don't remember, honestly. That is apparently has a completely different story and focuses way more on mental illness than the show does. So, like, none of the stuff that's happening to Lain is real in that one.
Oh, okay. So it's all in the head.
Yes.
Oh.
And it's apparently
cool
very, very dark.
So how many episodes is this?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. It's a relatively short one, though, I think. Like, it may just be one season.
It is 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's very short.
Interesting.
If you have any interest in cyberpunk or even like modern day like post-apocalyptic tech concepts of like enduring AI, like if that genre at all is of interest to you, then Lain is probably something you should check out. Like you might hate it all the way through, but it's cool if you look at Lain within the time period it was released and the questions it was asking then and like what the internet and technology was then. It's a very cool like just retrospective on like what the future could be from a period of time in which like no one knew what that would even look like.
So one question I have is how much did it get right?
I mean, well, obviously nobody's uploading their consciousness to the internet yet, but
We know of.
but it delves into like loneliness and human interaction and stuff like that, and I think in a lot of ways that's come to pass because a lot of people are isolated. Like the father is obsessed with technology, the mother is very passive, very just not involved. And a lot of, and it's because of the way everyone's interacting with the technology.
So a little bit's come true then.
Yeah, definitely.
Just waiting for the bit where he downloaded into the. See, my concern is that Loz watched To Your Eternity recently.
Oh, I didn't. I watched bits of it, and it just
and he found it too depressing. So I'm concerned that if we end up showing Loz Seal Experiments Lain, he might get a bit too depressed.
That is possible, yeah.
It's not a happy show.
No. It doesn't have to be a happy show, but at the same time, if it's just like ramming depression into your face, just opens your mouth and just goes, have a load of depression. You're like, what's coming next? Some more depression!
I think
we've got those characters, we moved on to these new characters. Oh, you like them? Oh, you think they're really interesting? It's some more depression! It's like, that's For Your Eternity.
I think with Lain's friend, there's probably enough of a good, hopeful anchor there that it'll counteract anything else as far as that goes.
It's kind of like Ghost in the Shell minus all the guns and sexiness. So just Makoto sitting in water staring up at the moon. That's kind of what this is like.
Right.
With a little bit of mindfuckery.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm interested. I'm gonna give it a go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try again.
Awesome.
We'll try again. Right. Okay. Should we move on to another one?
Yeah, I'll take mine. I've only got one, so I'll get that done.
Well, I was gonna leave yours to a bit later. But if you wanted.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. It's
okay. Cool.
Completely different.
So the next one I'm gonna do is actually Loz. You can help me out with Rage of Bahamut Genesis.
Oh, okay. It's been a while, but yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, again, it has been a while. This
it looks
series,
very pretty.
It is very pretty. It was done by Mappa, right?
You introduced it, I'll tell you.
Yeah, Mappa have done some incredible pieces. I'm pretty sure they did Dororo. No. Yes, they did that one. I think they've done Dorohedoro. They've done some amazing stuff over the years. And Rage of Bahamut Genesis, or Shingeki no Bahamut, was one of the things that Loz assumed I had seen like years and years ago. It's like, oh man, do you remember that?
I just finished this show.
And I'm like, what? I've never heard of this. And this is the show. Like, this is one of the shows that I started watching, and I literally couldn't put it down. Right?
Wow.
I think I started it in like the afternoon/evening, and I didn't go to bed until I'd finished watching the series. Right?
I think it's only like it's only 10 or 12 episodes long.
Yes, so it's not massive. It's based on a video game, and a lot of video.
No. I just want to say that's the point I was going to get to. Right, the show Rage of Bahamut is a card-based gacha app game. Right, This show does not deserve to be so good, seeing as it's just based on some random card game. And you're like, you thought that they'd just be, here's a show. Look, they summoned the super SR rank card. You want to buy it, put money in. No. This show's like, we're going to actually have a plot, and we're going to actually be really good and have meaningful, deep characters, and it's going to be really pretty and really cool and have quite a satisfying ending that you're like, you're going to pull that off, show? It's like, we're going to pull that off. It's like, most people just cop out. No, we ain't going to cop out. It's like, wow. That's deep.
There is another series called Rage of Bahamut Virgin Soul, which is a direct follow-on, but you might start watching it and you're like, is this the same thing? I don't know. It is, and apparently there's a third season which is actually done by the makers of the game called Psy Pictures Animation or something like that. I've only just found out that there's been a third season. I have no idea if it's any good or anything like that. But considering how good this first season was, I am prepared to actually give that a go.
Have you seen the second season?
Yeah, I totally seen the second season.
And you recommend both those two?
Yes, but the first one primarily.
Recommend the first one, which I really recommend.
Yeah. So it's a fantasy setting where we have humans, angels, and demons. Right? I don't know if there are mixed races of humans or if it's just human. Like no elves or anything like that.
Been a while for me, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. But the big thing is that there was a huge war between all three, and the demons were the losing side of everything. But the big thing, similar to other shows like High School Double D, there were dragons that were more powerful than Bahamut was the biggest, baddest dragon that all three sides had to come together to defeat. And this story is set many years later, where some people are trying to bring back Bahamut to screw up everything. It's trying to destroy the very weak piece that already exists. So, and it primarily focuses on a thief, a knight, and I don't know how to describe this girl. I can't remember how to describe her.
She's giving me Monster Hunter vibes.
No, this is her choosing her outfit. So she's like stood in front, like, because if you see that there's two screenshots where she's got two completely different outfits, but the background is perfectly the same. That's what, so I don't know how to, like, she's got amnesia, doesn't she?
Oh, I couldn't remember.
I'm pretty sure she does. So they're trying to help her and things like this. But the two other guys, the thief and the knight, they hate each other with a passion. So yeah,
sounds like a good dynamic.
Really. Do you want to add anything, Loz?
Yeah, well, that's the thing you're saying as the dynamic. I remember watching this and waiting for the characters to fall into really, really obvious tropes, because I'm like, again, I was thinking, I started watching the first episode, then looked it up, saw it's just a game. Sorry, it's made for a game. Okay, it's just gonna be lazy and everything, and then it just doesn't. Like this is the thief, which is I suppose our main character. And like I didn't like him at first, and I spent a long time not liking him. But then you like him for different reasons because he just doesn't do things how you would normally. It's hard to say in what I remember.
You like
doesn't do
to
things
hate him.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're like. You don't want him to fail or anything, but you're like, I don't like you, but I want to see you succeed. But I don't like you. It's weird. Yeah. It's like I say, they put far too much effort in than if they just wanted for a tie-in show. It really was. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised by the quality of the story and the depth of the characters and also the interactions. They just the whole time you're waiting for, it's time for the tropes to begin. It's time. You're just gonna have a proper. We're just gonna write a proper fantasy epic. Okay, cool. Okay, fine. Didn't expect that.
And again, it sort of like just passed in the night. It was like I honestly I can't remember how old it was when you told me about it, Loz. But it was just like, wait, I've never heard of this. What are you talking about? And I honestly just could not put this down. It was like Nier Automata. I couldn't put that down as well. This is exactly the same. It's such a good quality show, and this is one that people should totally check out. Any questions?
No, sounds really cool.
I just hate his hair.
See, I really like his
That's the reason
hair.
you hate him. Really? I just hate his hair. And I'm like, I just hate you. But by the end, you're like, damn it, guy. I can't remember his name. It's like, guy, he's so awesome.
It's the rare redhead afro.
Yeah, exactly.
The rare.
It doesn't fit in anything else.
I'm going to see if I can actually find out what his name was. Favreau.
Hey, see again. Weird name. It's just everything about it is weird.
Oh, come on. That name would be fine in a JoJo episode.
But this isn't JoJo.
Or isn't it? No, it's not.
Everything's JoJo.
Yep. Cool. Should we move on to another one of Nasuth's?
Oh, sure. I will do what is actually probably the best one, in my opinion. Gankutsuo. The Count of Monte Cristo. So, I did do a little bit of looking for this. Or a little bit of research. Wait, that's not the right one. That's the right one. So the art style is a weird fusion between Impressionism from Europe and a Japanese art style called ukiyo-e. I think that's right. And I've actually got a couple of examples for them because when you see, I can tell you what they're like, but when you see them, you're gonna instantly recognize the style.
Right.
So there's that, and there's this,
Right. Yeah.
and there's this, and it's you know that style.
Yeah. If you ask somebody, if you said, the traditional old art style of Japan. This is probably what I would pick.
A lot
out
of them were
lineup,
painted directly onto wood rather than like canvas or anything. Yeah.
Just hit the small button.
Oh, sorry. Hit the small button. There it is.
Yeah.
Right. So as you can see, you can really see it in this style. It's very artsy.
Yeah. After you say that, and then I look at this, I can see why thing. At first, I was like, oh, things are just weirdly standing out, but now I understand what they were trying to go for. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really does follow in a lot of ways the story of the Count of Monte Cristo, which is, pretty relatively famous. I've actually personally never read it. I'll be honest, but it does hit all the same beats. Not some of the it discards some of the subplots and stuff, but. Except it's set in the future. It's set in 5053, right? And there are two empires. There's Earth, and there's the Eastern Empire, which is populated by literal aliens. And they're always kind of at war with each other. But there's a lot of little moons and planets that belong to nobles and barons and kings and what have you. But so it focuses a lot on. No, that's one of the alien girls. She works with our count to help him get his revenge, which is the whole story of the Count of Monte Cristo. Is he's getting revenge on people who basically had him falsely accused and imprisoned and all that fun stuff. So yeah, you get a lot.
My hair was a floral pattern. It's quite impressive.
But it's also got like a few sci-fi elements because obviously we've got aliens. The Count himself is helped by an entity called Gankutsuo. That's where the name comes from. It slowly, like, it's powering his revenge, but it's also like slowly consuming him. So it's very artsy. It's very symbolic, that sort of thing. But it's so good. It's so good. I actually kind of want to rewatch it again.
I have heard a lot of good things about this series, but I don't know, like the art style is kind of a turn off for me.
I get it. I think in action it might be a little better, but it is very flamboyant. Like it's hard, it's almost grating on the eyes at times.
So one of the big things with the Count of Monte Cristo is the original narrative is someone gets falsely accused of a crime they did not commit. They were squirreled away in a prison for the longest time, and then when they finally get out, they are no one knows who this person is. Like
yes,
no one. They are out to get revenge, right? Now, is the character on screen right now the Count of Monte Cristo?
Yes.
Or was on screen?
Was the man, yeah. So yes, that is the Count.
Was he one of the aliens?
No. I think he looks like that now because of how Gankutsuo is affected.
Right. Okay, because like that this has been the confusing part to me, is like I don't understand who is getting revenge on, like, because you got Earth and you got the aliens.
Right.
Like, who's trying to get revenge on who? So is he pretending to be an alien?
He's getting revenge? Help. He's getting help from an alien, but no, as far as I remember, he's human.
This kind of sounds like the Count of Monte Cristo version of Fate. How like Fate's history is like 10% history, 90% total BS. That's kind of what this feels like, which is cool.
Okay.
It's honestly really fun.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime Video now. Is this actual Prime Video or is this US Prime Video? I got lied to.
I may potentially be able to help you out watching it.
No, that's fine. It's fine. It's like it's on Crunchyroll. It's fine.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, on Crunchyroll. Yeah. Okay. So trying to get beyond the whole. So wait, hold on. So he's human, and is he trying to get revenge on other humans?
Yes, he's trying to get revenge on. So this is our main character, in the hat.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
And that is the son of one of the people who imprisoned him. And so he's getting close to he used the son to reintroduce himself into quote unquote Parisian society. And then is slowly using him to get revenge. Like he's befriending him and getting closer to him and his family in order to get revenge on the family.
Right. So where do the aliens come in on this?
I think they just represent like Asians. Because they're the Eastern Empire, and it was in the 19th century, so there was, a bit of conflict between the East and West, and,
Because if there are aliens, surely they have lasers. My thinking is, why don't you just, like, laser them from orbit, and then just go, yeah, screw you guys, prisoning me in...
But it's the year 5053, so the humans probably have laser shields and their own lasers.
Motherfuckers.
Right, escalation.
If it's a revenge story, you got to serve up in a classic way, right? You can't just. You're only gonna laser if it's like a laser that's really gonna hit him where it hurts. If
revenge is a dish best served cold. It's true.
Yeah. You'll laser their dog from the moon or something, right? You're not gonna finish them off.
Poor Snowball. Poor Snowball.
Lasers fix everything. Anyway, right, okay, cool. So moving on. Adam, do you want to do one of yours?
Yeah. Let's do Scride. Scride.
Yep.
Yeah, this is great. Scride is great. That's all I need to say. If Scride is probably the most BS anime we'll talk about here, because it's pretty much just people punching each other. But I really enjoy it's a rival story. It's about of course Japan has a bunch of islands. One of them explodes real good and becomes super cursed, and the people that live on that island they get powers. They kind of get like stands in a way. So I think it's something like 10% of the children that are born after this island exploding incident get powers, and these powers are called alters. And the way alters work is when you manifest them, they take matter from around you and turn it into a thing that you can control. So one guy gets he can make cars, and his cars go super fast. One guy gets like a doll that he controls. Some people get like giant mechs. The main character gets an arm that punches really good. So because he's gotta. And his whole thing is that he's got like 3 bullets, quote unquote, that he like super powers his arm. Yeah, you can kind of see him punching there. His arm punches harder and harder each time he uses one. And this organization comes up called Holy. It's been a while since I've seen this. I had to like do like a kind of a little bit of a review to make sure that the show was as good as I thought it was, and I was happy. So Holy comes up, and they show up on the island, and it becomes the story of the government trying to control these people, and these people who are natives to island just saying like, get out of here. And there's a rival between this guy on screen, his name is Kazuma, and the kind of head of Holy, whose name I forget right now because he's not as cool as Kazuma. And they fight each other a whole bunch. The government obviously betrays them kind of a little bit. There becomes this like war between the organization and the people on the island, and it all culminates in this big rival story where both rivals do fight each other and prove who is the better of the two.
That is interesting here.
He's the guy who goes fast. He makes cars and drives super fast. It's great. This show is great. The most irritating characters get redeemed by the end. Like, everyone gets their time in the spotlight. Characters that you think are functionally useless to start get like a tiny bit of development. And this is not a deep show. This is not a show where you'll be saying to yourself like, wow, that really answered some questions for me. This is a show that if you want to see...
So it's not Lain.
No. This is the polar opposite of Lain. If you want to see guys and gals, but mostly guys, punching the hell out of each other in Gundam Seed-esque art, because this was one of those projects where like the perfect group of people came together that would eventually go on and make bigger and better things. Right? So I'm not going to pretend I know the directorial / art direction crew too much. But I know the art was led by the guy who did a lot of the Gundam shows. There's some directorial, not debuts in there, but you can just see as you watch the show. There's a lot in here that resonates in many other better later 2000s animes. But it all is done really well in Scride, and it has a pretty satisfying ending.
So I've seen this. I am struggling to remember it because, again, we're actually talking, Christ, 20 years ago.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is how long? Ooh.
21 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very long time ago.
It's old enough to drink.
Random. And if memory serves, basically, yeah, you had this organization, Holy, and they were sort of like rounding up all of the people that could use the stand equivalents, the alters, and come and join our private military organization where, you know, we get to boss people around and do what we want. And Kazuma is pretty much the only one who has an altar that can go against them, and they're constantly chasing him down because, like, he won't join them, and it's like, yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, his altar is good, but, like, it's also that, like, everyone else's altars, like, kind of suck. Like, the other team has, like, a guy that can make, like, a gun suit, and then their team is like, I can make a ball that is really heavy. So the odds are kind of stacked against them a little bit.
Yeah. So I also feel that this is is this a bit of a journey to the west kind of situation where they're trying to get to a special? I can't remember if Kazuma's escorting someone to a specific location. I just can't remember.
Yeah, there's so the girl here, she is part of Holy, but she doesn't have any power. She's a regular person, and if she gets hurt, then the Japanese mainland, of course, is going to be like, what? She's getting hurt? All these power people, they gotta go. So, like, there becomes this, like, self-interest of, like, protect normal people, but also leave our island alone, but also get off our island normal people. It is not a complicated plot. It is by the numbers. You can pretty much see who's going to turn sides a little bit, who's going to be a good guy, who's going to grow and become better people. And, you know, the people who are really gruff and, like, are loners obviously become, like, more family oriented. And the people who don't want to rely on anyone eventually rely on people. Like, there's nothing here you can't see coming from, like, 20 episodes away. But it is very pretty. It is a lot of fun. And if you just want to see people beat each other up and, like, kind of popcorn media your way through, this is a great show. This is one of my favorites.
Cool.
Sounds very interesting. In a kind of sit back and eat popcorn kind of way.
Yeah.
Anyone got any questions?
How many episodes are we looking at?
Ooh, I got it up in front of me. 26.
26, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So back when a lot of anime were just getting 26 by default, you know. But okay, cool. I'm gonna move us on, and I'm actually gonna ask Loz, can you take on the Gundam one?
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can. But I was gonna.
Of course you can.
I was waiting to see what Adam would say on it, and then of course I can on that one.
Talk together about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like Adam to introduce it, and then I can just go forever on that one. I literally can on that one. Oh, you want to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know first of all why Adam's got this on the list first. So,
Stardust Memory looks gorgeous. This is a, when you think about, like, 90s anime and that just grit and feel, and there's a thing about 90s anime where there's this attention to detail, where you when you see metal bend or dust clouds, they had to go out of their way to really illustrate and bring all that to life. And you get a lot of that in Gundam. Gundam has the money behind it to make most Gundam shows just look good. But Stardust Memory, it sets up my favorite Gundam show, which is Zeta, and it has this little block of history that it has to condense together into kind of like an OVA format, even though I think it runs a little bit longer. And it's kind of like a very classic piece of Gundam Universal Century timeline history that you can probably show someone and their head won't spin because the story is simple enough. But it also sets up what's going to happen in later shows that are way more complicated. It's just a sweet spot.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly some of the things I was exactly going to say there. So this show was the show that a friend of mine when he was getting me back into anime, because I watched a little bit of anime when I was a kid, then just didn't have access to it because none of us did for years and years and years before the internet. And then this was the first thing one of my friends showed me to get me into it, and obviously I'd seen Gundam Wing, so this is like, oh, I'll show you this, and it is brilliant. And I think you made a good point there. If before they've now released Gundam The Origin, which is actually really good, this is part of, at some point we're going to have an episode on it, the main Gundam timeline called UC, Universal Century. And before The Origin came out, I would have agreed that this would probably be a great, or maybe the 8th MS team are two really good ones to just get someone into that storyline and give them some grounding points, because a lot of the shows you need some grounding points, and the original show is just not worth watching. So why is that? So I'll give you a bit of a background for this. So this is after the first big war with robots, big robots punching each other, shooting each other. The first one's called the 1 Year War, and this has just ended that, and we have Earth and we have the space colonies, and that was what the war was over, fighting between those two sides. They're kind of at a peace, and we have this show starts. One of the things in the first war was that you weren't allowed, that both sides agreed. Right, okay. The space colonies dropped a colony on Australia and blew it up. You actually see it in this. This is one of the few places you actually see Australia. I think you see it from orbit, or you see them flying over it, and it's just a big hole, just covered in the seas, just taking it. Yeah. So because the people living in space, the space colonies, had a civil war with Earth, and they dropped a space colony, there had to be something called the Antarctic Treaty, which has stopped people using super weapons against each other. Space agreed not to drop things on Earth. Earth agreed we won't use nukes, we won't use biological weapons, we won't use chemical weapons. That was the agreement. I think it was called the Antarctic Treaty. This show starts, okay, so we've had our big war, we're at peace now. But obviously everyone, if you want to have peace, you prepare for war. So we're now developing the next series of Gundams, is what this show is about. And there's 2 at the start, and they've been taken to a base in Australia for testing. They don't let anyone know. They're called GPO-1, which is your standard hero Gundam, your standard. You could just think stereotypical Gundam, it even looks like that. And then the GPO-2, which the sole point of the GPO-2 is that it's got a nuke cannon on it. So the start of that's what the Earth factions are doing. How does our show start? So our show starts with these things are being tested, and then somehow the space colonies, which you referred to, the Zeon is what they're called. Zeon's the faction for space. They find this out, and the first few episodes is a heist where we see these remnants, these Zeon remnants from the war. They try and capture that nuke Gundam, and they want to reveal it as like, oh my god, look, Earth has broken the treaty. They're building. You're not even allowed to develop things for nuclear weapons. This is a complete treaty violation. They've built a Gundam that the whole point of it is to have this nuclear bazooka and to be able to shoot off a nuclear weapon and actually be pretty close to the explosion and survive. It's completely against the treaty. So because our start of our show is a heist for mobile suits, it's a good place to start, and you go, okay, these are the Earth, these are Zeon, okay, you get to see a bit both sides, and then the story expands from there as the troops who have had their Gundam stolen then take the one remaining Gundam they have and chase them down. And the show, as most Gundam shows do, we go on a little trip around Earth, and then we're gonna go to space, because we always go to space. And it's some good fights, some good robots hit each other, and good escalation. I don't want to spoil anything. It's got my favorite Gundam, which I did list before, which is GPO-3, and then the details. What I was going to say, it is just, I love this late 80s, 90s, before they got to CG, because I'd say like Seed comes after this sort of thing, and that's when they started pumping, oh, we got these computers, we can just not put all the effort into doing these detail. And so the animation flows beautifully. When you see like, a robot punching through another robot and the arm falls off, and you see all the pipes and the nuts and the bolts flying everywhere, all hand drawn, it just really has that, just so beautiful part of it. But this character, by though, ruins the whole show.
Aww.
Because she just doesn't.
What about the giant crab here?
That thing is awesome.
Female protagonists.
Oh yeah, Gundam, especially there in front of her. So sorry, that's the bit I forgot. We go to space, then we go to the moon. That's actually a giant one we fight on the moon, which it shouldn't exist, and it should have been smashed to pieces. It's the Zeon side, and that somebody's been rebuilding it. And then just look at the detail there, the pipes, the charging cables hanging out of it, and that thing comes out and has a fight and gets exploded to pieces, and you can imagine it's beautiful the whole way through. I'm not saying this show are like some of the shows we had before, like what was it that we said before? Seried Experiments Lain. That actually had, deeper what if questions. This show doesn't really ask that. It is like a basic Gundam framework is what we got here. The most we're asking is just like, should we use weapons of mass destruction, politics, your basic Gundam politics, your basic war is bad stuff, which is the overall message always of Gundam. and then allegiances and betrayal and that kind of stuff. It doesn't really go much further than that. Basically, this is the female love interest of the main character and also the main villain, and she doesn't recognize him at first for some stupid reason. I think the directors did change in the anime halfway through doing it, but she's just like, who do I love more, the main character who I do now that I've met now, or the bad guy who I used to love who abandoned me? And she's just, oh god, this poor character, I just feel it just does just a disservice. She's just every other character, like, this is a bad villain, she's awesome, and everything else is awesome. That's my one critique, is that Adam, have you seen Macross?
Yes.
Yeah, she's almost on Minmay levels of ridiculousness, of just indecisiveness, and who am I supposed to be with? It's just it's just annoying. Yeah, but apart from that, that's the show. It's good. It's good. It's good.
You gotta have a good love triangle in your drama. Come on, somebody's gonna bite that bullet.
But so the main, obviously, she's got the main villain and the main character fighting each other, and she's like, oh my god, which one do I support? But she's just so indecisive when the main villain abandoned her and clearly just like, no, I must save Zeon, and this is all about Zeon. And she's like, oh, but I still love him. It's like, but no, he doesn't care about you at all. It's just, it's ridiculous. Yeah. But you can, so it's, I think it's 12, I can't remember how many episodes it is as a series, but I know
13.
Yeah, but then it is actually, they then condensed it even to a movie format, I think, called Mobile Suit Gundam Afterglow of Zeon. But I just looked it up actually earlier before we started this. I don't think it got an American release for some reason, but it did get a UK release, which is just weird.
That's bizarre.
So if you have the choice, though, do go watch the series, because it is just, you're getting all they're chopping out is good stuff with details and just good stuff.
There's not a lot of wasted time in this series. Like, you don't there's no like filler that you feel that you're losing out on. It's very cool to see, like, there's a bunch of like day in the life episodes that kind of before the war kind of kicks in, where you get to see like what life is like for the soldiers on at least one side of the conflict in a casual way. It's got a lot of personality.
Yeah,
So,
you get to see the Earth side from the thing. You never seeing Zeon day-to-day life. You don't really get, but you do get the politics side, which always eats up Zeon time.
So with this, like, I always struggle to get into the UC timeline. I'm like, where do I start? I just, it's so daunting to me, right? And obviously there's the 2015 Origin movie, which Loz keeps on like chanting on about, but and you've also made the comparison with 8th MS Team, which I have watched, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything not watching any of the other UC timeline Gundam series. Can I do that with this? Can I do that with Stardust Memory?
Well, you saying you need?
Can I just watch this without the fear of losing out on the fact that I've not watched anything else, or should I watch the Origin movie first before watching this?
No, you could just watch this, especially if you've seen something like 8th MS Team. Yeah.
So you will eventually have to do a Universal Century episode.
Yeah.
Because it is maybe the most harrowing and punishing thing that you can do as an anime mech fan is to watch any of it out of order and then try to figure out what's going on. Like, Gundam is not kind to newcomers, but it is super rewarding for anyone who follows it start to finish. And this is one of those shows that if you watch this and then you watch any other Universal Century story, this will give you something to hold on to. Whereas if you were to watch like Zeta Gundam, for example, not knowing the original Gundam story, you'd feel like an idiot when they started like celebrating famous characters in the series coming back, or famous ships or famous places. Gundam loves to name drop. They'll name drop you till they're blue in the face. This show actually doesn't do that much, because a lot of the stuff that gets name dropped later on in other shows is kind of created and like it's given foundation here, like the Titans, and there's just so many like characters and background events that like Gundam likes to look back on itself wistfully over, and this is sort of the thing that kicks off a lot of those.
Right. Okay.
It's really clever the way I think the way they made this or whoever put the effort in, because you had the original show years, I think in the 80s or whatever, and then you had like Zeta and Double Zeta. This slots in. The original show is happening at the same time for Xena's reference, at the same time as 8th MS Team, and obviously the Origin leads into that main show. This slots really nicely between after that first big war arc and then Zeta Double Zeta. It fits in between there, and the way it does it is it's not an actual war, it's referred to just as a conflict that and a lot of it got classified afterwards. So we've got none of the big names, as you say, the name drop names all the time, like Char, Amuro, all of our characters are new to this show in this little setting, and then afterwards are either dead or kind of on the fringes. They don't come later. So you don't need to follow these characters onwards. But obviously, because you get to explore with these characters, you can then understand things. You got to get into the setting. You've got to know who the Federation are, who the Xeon are, not just words that sound weird that Loz is saying. And then what you can use this as a framework to expand into the rest of the universe going forward and back, which is really good because these characters pretty much exist only in this section, and they're self-contained. But the framework of the world they're in allows you to expand forward and back.
Yeah, there's a lot of Gundam that like just doesn't care. You don't know what the AUG is? You're an idiot. How dare you? You're so stupid. You don't know the difference between Zeon and Neo Zeon? Grow up. Right? This I like this show because it doesn't like it's not a test that you can fail, and a lot of I love Gundam so much, but a lot of it is definitely a test that you can fail, and the show will make you feel stupid for it because characters will literally have a conversation about 3 or 4 actual shows worth of events in like 5 seconds, and then dramatic music will play, and you're like, wow, I guess I'm stupid. Sorry, I didn't understand that.
yeah. But if you do understand it, you're like, oh wow,
you're a genius.
Okay,
You're the smartest person in the world. You're like, wow, I remember that exact instance. That cup from season 2 of a show from the 80s is suddenly relevant.
Yeah. Sorry, I just love I was so distracted by the detailing on the hands on this. It's so good.
It does look gorgeous. It looks absolutely stunning. And
we've talked before about how a lot of anime from this time period just put in so much effort.
Yeah.
It'll hold up. 20 years from now, this will look just as good.
Yeah.
And Seed will look worse.
I kind of, it really will. But I kind of hate to say this, but I think I'm gonna have to give up on video games to catch up with all these great recommendations. But I'm going to move us on.
It moves on because otherwise I'll start sitting here saying, like, why didn't you get screenshots of this?
I am going to, because I don't know why they get screenshots of. I'm going to talk about Patlabor, right? I love this series, right? You've got Patlabor and you've got the movies, right? The TV series and you got the movies. They are really nothing alike. They have the same characters, they have the same world setting and everything, but the serious tone of the movies is not carried through with the TV series, right? So it was never originally in the TV series. TV series was before the movies, but oh my god, the TV series is brilliant. Now, when I talk about real life cop shows, I'm sure all three of you know, I'm pretty sure anyone listening knows what I'm talking about when I say a real life cop show.
You mean like Cops?
Sure. Right?
Yeah.
But the whole point is you're following real life police officers going to like disturbances in a neighborhood, or there's a high speed chase because someone refuses to pull over, or someone's been reported for dealing drugs in an alleyway, or it's all that sort of stuff, right? Patlabor is that for mechs, right? It sounds like a crazy concept, but it is brilliant because most of the illegal stuff that happens in real life are things like drunk driving, right? The first episode starts where they have to restrain a labor, which is, used for construction, like making buildings and things like that. Someone is drunk operating a mobile suit and the police officers.
A labor.
Huh?
The term is a labor, isn't it? Not a mobile
Yes.
suit.
Yeah. Well, it's just the term they're coining, but yes, a labor. Yeah. So they're drunk operating a labor, and the police have to stop them. Right? Now, the big problem is they can't use excessive force because effectively you could swing a labor around and destroy several houses. So you're in an urban district, and you're like, we have to be really careful where we step because we could crush someone's car, and then the police owe for damages. So they have to be really, really careful.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a drunk driver, obviously they can cause a lot of damage to a house they crash into, and that's it. But if you have someone who is in a walking power suit, they can tear through 20 buildings just stumbling around. So you're going to need the police to have power suits to deal with the drunk person in a power suit. And then the police, well, you can't, like, the police can't just cause their own damage and be like, oh, but we were just trying to get this one person who was drunk. No, they have to be careful. So they're in their own power suits having to deal with a drunk person in as a labor who, if they don't leave him, is going to just tear through this residential district like it's paper. Right.
It's a brilliant, and like the big thing is that the team, Special Unit 2, there is a Special Unit 1 as well. What's it called? The special units of police force. They are the Patlabor. They are the patrol labors, and they have to effectively work out of an airport hangar in Tokyo Bay. In Tokyo Bay. They can't be in any of the business or residential districts because of like any potential destruction that can happen, right? They have to be kept. So whenever they have to travel and things, they have to travel God knows how much to get to their destination. Some parts of they have to get to other parts of Japan and things, and they have to go through like hilltops and all sorts of, it's crazy. But a lot of the series also focuses on the lifestyle of a police officer that is segregated effectively from society. That they are effectively the SWAT team in giant robots, and well, not giant robots, robots, and they have to do their job. They have to respect society. They can't mouth off to any civilian giving them flack. They have to be a good public servant, and it's really interesting. It's just such a good series. It's so funny, and all the hijinks that happens. It's honestly, it's such a great series. People need to watch it. It's so good. Again, also the art style of the 90s, where like it still looks up
I mean,
today.
just look at that arm take. Oh no, it's gone now. The arm was taken off, and you can see the internal bits and pieces, and it's just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and you've got Alphonse there. Yeah.
Before we go into more detail, I'm going to ask you, because this is the thing that always gets me with this show, because I always want to get into it, and I know you've told me, and I know we've tried several times. So there is the series, and then there are 3 movies?
Yes.
Right, and which would you recommend people watch, in which order, in dub or sub? Because that's been part of the things. I think I've seen at least 2 of the films, and if I remember right, the first film is okay, the second film is not.
The first film is good. The second film is where's my Patlabor, right? The third film is I was told there was Patlabor. There's no Patlabor. I've been ripped off, right? So we never talk of the third film because it is just that. The third film actually follows these detectives that make the occasional appearance in the series, and again occasionally in the first movie, and it's got nothing to do with Special Unit 2, or it's never watched the third movie. The third movie is just whatever the fuck they were thinking. The second movie is not great because it focuses on one relationship with Special Unit 1, not Special Unit 2, which is what the rest of the material is about. The first movie is good. If you want a taste of the series, I would suggest watch the movie first, just so you get a feel for the characters and things. But realize that the series is so much more of a comedy than the first movie. then give the series a go, right? It is funny. It's a classic. It's such a classic. And it's just one of those series that really didn't get out of Japan. Like, hunting down DVDs for this, like, by any of the big mainstream publishing companies in America at the time, it was picked up by, oh God, was it US Manga Corp or something like that? It could have been them. And that company did not survive, right? That company, I think, got bought out or just died a death. And so, yeah, Patlabor was just lost to the eons of time, and it has only recently resurfaced within the last, I want to say 5 to 10 years, right? Probably closer to 5. It is such a great classic. Everyone should watch it. The dub is the sort of early 90s era dub where names aren't pronounced exactly spot on correctly, but the emotions and the attitude of the characters is portrayed really, really well. Plus, the guy on the right of the Patlabor's head here, he is, stage left. He is voiced by Yugi Matsumoto, right? And it's like the only other performance I know he has done, and he is such a different character. I'm like, Christ, I've never known him to be into 2 shows. He's Yugi and he's Christ, what was his? I can't remember what his character's name is. But yeah, it's brilliant. Honestly, you can watch the dub. It's fine. Yeah, it's really, really good series. I love it.
It's one of those I've always meant to watch, and I just never have. I don't know why.
Is it because I don't bang on enough about it?
That's probably it, yeah.
I should just keep complaining until you do. Right. Okay. Any questions?
I like Patlabor.
Great series. Absolutely love it. Yeah. I think it's got a Blu-ray either come out recently or coming out soon. So,
what's the Blu-ray of, though?
The series. Actually, no, I think it's all of it. I think it's all of it, actually. I think they've bundled the whole thing together. So there's the OVA and then there's the TV series. I think the OVA covers a bit of the TV series, and the TV series is like 49 episodes. So it's really, really good.
And just as you say, that Prime Video thing above your head is a lie, is it?
For UK, it's a lie. I don't know if it's in the... Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, Patlabor! It's not there, I've been lied to! So I think it's in the US, not in the UK. But anyway, right. Should we move on to the next thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Nasuth, I think you've got one. Loz has got one. And Adam, I think you've got one left. So who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead Oh, no, Loz, go ahead.
Mine. I'll do mine.
I do. I actually want to hear about this thing. Yeah.
Okay, this is probably the newest thing on here as well, but also the freaking weirdest thing on here as well. Now, this is listed on AniList, so we're gonna count it as anime. This is Thunderbolt Fantasy, which is a joint production between Japan and Taiwan to basically use puppets to do an anime. The first season, it's had 3 seasons. The third season came out last year, and I didn't even know it happened, and I haven't watched that yet, but I've seen the first 2 seasons. The first season, I will say, is very much as a villain.
Oh, I think we're losing Lars. Should we hit the pause button real quick?
Underneath. Okay, I'm back now with interwebs again. I can't remember what did I get to?
Just start again.
Okay, so what this is a work between Japan and Taiwan doing basically an anime with puppets. And these puppets are pretty cool, quite graphically violent at points as well, I just want to add, for puppets. And yes, so it's had 3 seasons. 3rd season came out last year during the pandemic as well, which I haven't seen yet and haven't got to. But the first 2 seasons I have seen. The first season, a lot of it is set up in the first season. We just kind of got a mustache twirling villain. I think he's after a magical sword, and it's the most important thing in the world in the first season. And then you realize it's not as time goes by. But by the second season, you've spent some of the characters who have been like mysterious the whole way through. This is our main character. character here. He spends, I think it's the main character, they spent a mysterious time the whole way through the first season, and then when you actually get his backstory, it's really interesting, where he came from, what he's doing, and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool, and it pays off from the first season stuff, which I don't want to spoil any of, but it's really good. There's other mysterious characters as well. I think we've got like gods, we've got demons, we've got flying through the air, we've got ninjas, we've got assassins, as I say, we've got magical swords, we've got magical people, we've got super trained people, we've got zombies. I think there's one thing with zombies at the time. This does everything this show does. And these puppets, and they do a pretty good job with the puppets.
Puppets or are they marionettes?
What's the difference?
Marionettes are on strings. Puppets are like hand.
I don't believe they're on strings. I think they're controlled underneath, like I don't know what it's called, but they have like this. You could see in some places like the clear sticks that are like manipulating them. They hide it really well though.
Yes, yeah. You're not sitting there the whole time watching the sticks being like blah 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 blah. But there's obviously times you will pick up on them and things. And obviously, as you can see there, the magic's enhanced with CG to so they can do all these crazy effects that they never. Obviously it's a historical art doing this sort of puppetry and puppet work, and then something you just don't see much in the modern stuff because we've got computers, but they've done so much effort on detailing these models. They look really beautiful, look really detailed, and then the mouths do move and everything, and yet then it's enhanced with CG for all of the special effects and things, and you've also got a few classical effects like smoke and things, and so it just works really well. Here's another one of our very mysterious characters who doesn't really get explained till season 2, and they're just it's so good. It really is an anime done in physical form. If we never invented the art of drawing, this is how all your anime would have been done, and it would still be really cool and really gory.
So I have a series of questions, right?
Yeah.
First off,
yes,
I tried to watch the Netflix Dark Crystal series,
right?
And a problem I had with the series was how it was filmed. The fact that all the characters were below the halfway point on the screen. There was the top half of the screen was just dead space, and it always got to me. You've heard me complain about it how often, right? From the looks of it, this series does not suffer from that.
I wouldn't say as much. I mean, obviously, I think you're going to get a bit of that with some shows and even anime, because the head is the important. We don't speak out of our feet, So yeah, but I think you think with the Jim Henson puppets.
Yeah,
everyone they can't. It's very hard for them to show the feet because as I try and act.
No. Yeah. I got no issue with showing feet. I'm not into that weird website. Right. My point is, it was the fact that half of the screen. It was like basically, it was like that the entire time.
Oh,
like,
I mean, you just have to look at the shot behind us. You just look at the shot you've got there.
Yeah.
It's a scaling thing. So like with Dark Crystal, the protagonists are all shorter, so they have to. I think a lot of the times the sets that they build are like meant for like actual people to kind of walk through, and they're not scaled down to like Hobbit size or anything. Thunderbolt Fantasy, all of the puppets are scaled to the size of the puppet people. So if they're this big, then everything around them is proportional. So I don't think you'll have that problem.
Okay, cool. So the next thing is, everyone looks like a human. Is that an accurate statement, or is that just the curated screenshots we have here?
Yeah, I mean, it's set in like an alternative Japan. I don't think it is actually in Japan, but it's very much. I mean, you get things. It's very feudal Japan. You've got people like the policeman is this person, a tax collector kind of thing. It's very. I just can't say more than that. Yeah, I can't think of anything more to say. There's not like bunny people or something, or I don't know I know of. Yeah, everyone is a human. I think, like for instance, I think this mysterious magical person. He's a mysterious magical person. I can't remember what exactly he is, but that's what our mysterious magical person looks like. He hasn't got a tail or anything, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. So it's just like I mean, that was because you were talking about like demons and things. Like, are we going to be able to? Can we spot a demon from a mile away? I was like, do you have to be told that that's a demon?
Oh no, the demons are big when they turn up, or the one turns up. I think in the first season, they're big. These are big, but there's like I think there's dragons as well. and the zombies, but then obviously the zombies are like human puppets and things. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's not like you don't get like I haven't seen season 3. You're not getting like one of these like this character with a few little horns on their head and then wings on their back. And no, do you? I can't remember.
Right. So okay, you've given a lot of clarity to that. The next question I have is you said gore, right?
Yes.
You said that, right? How is the gore depicted? Is it like, they slash off an arm and then there's just ribbons falling out, or is it actually like liquid blood?
Do you remember, Adam?
I don't actually remember the show being that. Like, I remember there's gore, but I don't remember it being that gory.
Yeah, you were not getting like a whole room covered in gore of entrails, someone's intestines hanging from a ceiling thing. But like you've got puppets, and I don't know for you guys, but like Thunderbirds is or Captain Scarlet is my level of puppets. And then I think you'll see like arms chopped off, decapitations, puddles of blood and things. For puppets, it's a bit. It's
So more like Team America.
Yeah.
It's more. No, I think Team America can get quite graphic with there's one scene where one of them is a little bit sick.
Yeah.
And that's putting it mildly.
It's also like there's obviously no comparison between this and Team America outside their puppets. But with Team America, they are nothing there is high quality. Like it's there to serve its purpose as being a puppet and looking like a person, and everything is exaggerated for comedy effect. Yeah. I think it's only shocking here because these puppets look really good and they feel really real. So when something violent happens to them, there's kind of a disconnection for a moment where you're like, oh, like I just wasn't expecting the puppet to get maimed and also have it still look kind of good and still feel kind of real.
Yeah. So that's the I don't know how people are going to take it. I just wanted to make sure that anyone that was listening to this, they were like, oh, this sounds really interesting. It's like, oh my god, the sheer volume. Like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, it's not like every single thing has blood spurting everywhere, but it's like, you especially there's some characters who are like, oh, cool, this is a character, and then they just get killed, and you're like, what?
Right.
I wanted more with that character. No, that character's dead now. Are they? They were saying about this, that, or the other. Like, no, they're dead. Okay, moving on.
So I did a tiny bit of research. The art form is called Bunraku. Every puppet except for the most minor of them requires 3 puppeteers to fully articulate. There one guy controls the head and right hand, one guy controls the left hand, and another guy controls the feet. It's really cool. So it's really cool.
It just reminds me of Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds, where they would just zoom in on an actual person's hand doing things.
Well, so apparently apparently the puppeteers are usually in plain view wearing black clothes.
Oh, really?
On stage.
On stage.
Right.
That's the historical way of doing it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you now.
Yeah, and we just to point out, we also get fight scenes with our puppets. I'm not saying these are going to like the most articulate fight scenes, but they're much better than what you would have ever seen in like Thunderbirds, where it was just blah, blah, no. You actually get some decent little sword fights. You get some engine fights. They quite articulate as well in what they can get done. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's fun to watch just to see the art form.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love practical art forms like that.
Cool. Right. I'm damn it, I really am. I have to give up gaming, aren't I? Right, so should we move on to the next one?
Sure.
I'm gonna give it to Adam to do Escaflowne, so Nasuth has the last one to do.
Yeah. Vision of Escaflowne. What can't I say? It's got it all. It's got romance. It's got heart and fantasy. It has mecha suits and dragons. This Escaflowne, you know how sometimes you get someone who's like, what should I watch to get into anime? And I think we can all think of like some safe answers, like Full Metal Alchemist, right? Or Death Note, I think, is another good one where like the story is simple enough that like someone doesn't have to contend with learning all of Japanese history to begin to appreciate the nuance in anime, right? Like before those shows, for me it was Escaflowne, because there are some weird tropes in there. There's a cat girl, right? All right, we can't escape it. It was the 90s. But the premise is Hitomi, the schoolgirl there. She's just a track student, and one day while going home, this dude and a dragon warp into her community, and she kind of doesn't want anything to do with them. And dragons in this world are really weird. They're kind of like, that's the dude, Van
Fanel, king of all Fanelia.
Look, you don't know that at first. He's just a man with a sword.
Are you sure? Because every single time he introduces himself, I am Von Fanel, king of all Fanel. Every time.
Look.
No, I got it.
Dragons are weird. Dragons are weird.
Yeah.
He kills it. They get transported to his world, and then you find out what Fanelia is all about, and it's locked into this kind of low-tech, high-tech war with Zyback Empire, who are very obvious.
The dildo of fate.
They're the biggest bad guys of bad guys, super obvious. And there's that's not to say that there's not some weird anime nonsense that occurs in there. There's psychic powers, there's fate and destiny, there's a really
body
handsome
transformation.
blonde man. Body transformation. There's some like gender euphoria in there. Like I could do a disservice and just like rattle off all the weird stuff that happens. But Escaflowne handles it all respectfully. Escaflowne handles it all in a way that makes sense to you. If you're a fan of tarot and like precognition and fate, like this is going to be right up your alley. It has a bittersweet and satisfying conclusion. And it's got some incredible. I think it probably has one of the best anime soundtracks of all time. Like this is absolutely incredible, like start to finish. There's some really epic sequences. I don't know. Escaflowne is awesome. Don't watch the movie. And don't watch.
Movie's alright,
Don't
but
watch the dub.
I'd say the series is way better.
There's a really terrible. At one point in time, Escaflowne was brought over to Fox Kids, and they did a not great job about it. So don't watch that version.
You'd have to like cut out a bunch of stuff to make that viewable.
If you've watched Escaflowne before, go find the Fox Kids version and see how much of a butchered, insane mess it is.
Wait. I was one of the kids that could only watch it on Fox Kids.
Oh my god, Zeno.
What have I missed out on?
So
you've never seen
much.
the original?
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
you sweet summer child.
they cut out a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there are multiple episodes that are gutted and combined together. Like anything really like
they did a card captors to it.
Yeah. Actually,
God.
that's exactly it. They card captors the hell out of it. No, it's almost incomprehensible. Like you can barely understand what's going on because they tried to make it like a Saturday morning cartoon, which it is not.
So did they change like the plot heavily? Because they did that with Tekkaman Blade as well.
With the Fox Kids version, they focus mostly around the war, and they got rid of a lot of the romance aspects. And
really,
yeah, because a big part of it is Hitomi learning about the world, but also like struggling with romance, and also wanting to see like a conclusion to the war, but also wanting to get home. They gutted all of that, and it's mostly just a war story. But there's there like if there's a side plot, it's gone. It's not in there.
That sucks.
That's really depressing to hear. Wow.
Oh my god. I feel like
it's just a kid show. They had to make it into a kid show, right? So they got rid of every complicated. I didn't watch it far enough to see how they handled Delandu, who's a really complicated, interesting villain. I can't even begin to understand how they tackled that. I didn't get that far. I didn't torture myself that long.
Oh my god, because like I enjoyed it on Fox Kids, but not enough to like truly remember it or own it on DVD or anything like that. But to hear that basically what I got was a butchered incarnate, because we had the same problem, going on a slight tangent, with Tenchi Muyo. That was
Yeah.
or like that is properly an adult series, and like, no, we've got to make it for kids. I'm like, no, this is wrong. What you have done is just wrong. And the other one was Tekkaman Blade, where they had what you call it, I can't remember the actual character that well, but there was one character who was either a cross-dresser or, and I know this is bad that I can't get this accurate, but it was either cross-dresser or transgender. And in the English dub, they just made that character full-on female. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, they did that in Sailor Moon too. I think it was Zoisite was female.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
And then I thought Zoisite was a hermaphrodite.
You might actually be right. I don't remember, but I know for sure that in the English version it was.
They definitely butchered it.
They erased it.
Yeah. In Tekkaman Blade, the main character suffers from amnesia, and like to the point he doesn't remember his own name, and they nickname him D-Boy for like destructive boy, because like he breaks out of the prison, sorry, the medical facility that they're in. He thinks he's been captured, like, so he breaks out and he's just causing all sorts of destruction. They nickname him D-Boy, but they just get like, I can't remember who I am. We'll name you Blade.
Which honestly,
that's a cool 90s name.
Yeah.
Yes, but the whole point is that he can't remember he is Tekkaman Blade, right? You know, what else? And they couldn't afford the voice acting for the last 10 episodes, so they do not even do the last 10 episodes. They just like use the last one, and so you just have this huge jump. So yeah, I can't believe that this has actually happened to even get Escaflowne, and I didn't even fucking know.
That probably means that you don't remember how violent this show is as well.
Yeah.
There was some violence and things. I do remember things like
some violence.
The kid protagonist that like very, very what's his Joffrey Lannister-esque character, who was a Guy Meleth pilot who was just like constantly cutting on his own face because he got slashed there by, I think, Vaughn.
Yeah.
The Guy Meleth getting stabbed, but I don't remember any person-to-person combat. It was all in the giant robots.
It's mostly giant robots, and there's a lot of stab giant robot chest and see blood pouring out. It's not like super gory, but
there was no blood. It was just the sort of like the liquid metal that was just pouring out.
No, you totally know when someone bites it in this show because you see a lot of blood come out of them.
Oh my god, I can't believe this.
You should. I don't know how much of a memory you had. I loved.
I'm just gonna watch it again. Yeah.
So much. I used to have like the VHS tapes, like all collected.
I could totally. I still got it here somewhere.
Yeah, I my family recently binned them because.
No.
VHS. That's okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if they hadn't survived by now, because like my guy for VHSs, they died.
Yeah. I'm totally fine finding a better digital quality version anyway. Like this is a show that deserves it. It's got that same sort of 80s 90s. It looks good. I don't think there's a little bit of CGI, but this is a show that's going to look fantastic forever. Watch it. My
final question, right? Tenchi Muyo has a good dub as well as a bad dub, right? It has an unedited dub, right? Do you know if Escaflowne has an unedited dub?
Do not watch any dub of this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a case where like it's not even like the voice actors are bad. This was a bad era for dubbing where unless it was handled by one or two companies very specifically in a release that had a lot of respect for it, the dub here just it's just not really comparable. It's just bad. Yeah.
My next one has the exact same problem.
Okay.
It's because it's the audience that they targeted, right? Like
Yeah.
they wanted to get they took an anime that was very clearly meant for like early teens to like late adults with all of the themes that are in here, and they tried to like age it down to like 10-year-old, and this is not that type of show. It's a very like romantic, honestly, like you could compare it to like Revolutionary Girl or Sailor Moon. Like those are shows that like they were made a little stupider for the US broadcasting, but they're actually like really smart,
pretty deeper,
deep romances. And this just so happens to be a deep romance that has like a robot in it, but it's mostly focused a lot on like relationships, and it's very cool. I love this show.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels like I've just been told my childhood was a lie.
Zeno, you were lied to. All right, I'm sorry, but you were lied to.
God. I'm glad I could be the one to do it, because
I'm sad that I know this exists now.
Oh my god, I didn't even... Right, I think before my mental shock goes any further, let's move on to the show, the last pick by Nasuth, which is something.
Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is gosh, how do you really explain this? It's a
quintessential lesbian sword show.
Yeah, it's a shoujo show, right? It's got lots of romance, lots of talking, lots of deep characters, but also some very shallow comedy foils and villains, and not all the villains are complex. Some of them are very straightforward. But it's also got swords and magic and fight and duels and like a whole tournament arc sort of thing. And it's so weird. You meet God. I mean,
what?
yeah, you meet God. There's these shadow girls that are always like commenting on the episode, but we don't know who they are. They're just always silhouettes. There are definitely some filler episodes, I would say, like especially some of the comic relief ones, like the one where, what's her name? The blonde one, who's really mean and bitchy. She gets turned into like an elephant. It's weird. It's very strange. But I mean, it's all fantasy set from the beginning. Utena wants to be... So she encountered a prince when she was younger who gave her a ring, but she decided rather than waiting for him to come back, she would become her own prince. And so she ends up coming to this school. She sees the way that the student council, who are all duelists, are treating the Rose Bride, who is like magic. You can pull a sword out of her. Like that, right there. You can pull a sword out of her. And...
What do you mean you can pull a sword out of her?
I mean, you can pull a sword out of her.
Any small person. What, you like? She's just sitting down for like, okay, I'm just between classes. I'm gonna have my lunch. Sit down for lunch. Someone's like, I need me a sword, and just pulls a sword out of her.
Well, there are duels that happen in a scheduled, like they schedule them and they go do them, and whoever has control of the Rose Bride at that point can pull a sword out of her and use it. It's magic and everything. But
Wait,
Utena's like, I don't want her to be mistreated, so I'm going to save her.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like she's passed around like a
little bit. Whoever wins the duels basically has the Rose Bride as their partner, quote unquote.
How does the other person have a sword if they don't have the Rose Bride?
They just have a regular sword. They have a regular sword.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the student council's villains.
Is like everyone wants the convenience of just having the ability to pull swords
it's a
out of
magic
someone rather than carrying them
sword.
around.
It's a magic sword that's more powerful.
Yeah, but then how do you get defeated if you've got a magic sword that's more powerful?
Shining power. You have your own internal shining power.
Do you pull that out of the tulip, bro? I just feel it's so it's poor characters. Just handed around and just seems really mean.
I feel Nasuth.
There's reasons for that I can't tell you about.
Okay.
I feel Nasuth is doing a bit of a disservice, or we're mocking him too much.
Right.
He doesn't want to spoil. Okay, fine.
No, we've almost gone through this whole episode without spoilers. Wow.
I know.
Yeah, I respect holding off information because this is a gorgeous show.
There's a really deep reason. I mean, there's how many arcs? There are 4 or 5 arcs that they go through. It's like 39 episodes.
Is that the
the pink-haired one is Utena, who is she's her own prince, and the purple-haired one is Himemiya Anchi, who is the Rose Bride. Yeah.
Because it was a bit hard to see with the weird light effects on the other one. Okay,
right, cool. Yeah. And she's actually related to God, kinda. I don't want to get too deep into that either. But that's part of the reason why she's the way she is.
So, Utena met a prince.
Yes.
When she was younger, but then decided she couldn't be bothered to wait for. I might be paraphrasing here, but. Okay, didn't want to wait for him, so went to Prince School.
No, she became a prince.
School.
The school is The school is there because
So
he gave her a ring. He gave her a ring, and the ring kind of drew her here. But
okay, so
is that a magic ring?
Yes.
Okay. So she goes to school, and does she just declare to the class like I'm gonna be my own prince?
No, she does. She's decided that before she comes to school. She is already her own prince.
So she's a princess and a prince.
No,
she's just a prince.
She's just a prince.
Okay.
And she wants to save Anchi, who is the damsel in distress.
The Rose.
The Rose Bride. Yes. Sorry.
The Rose Bride. Right. Okay. This is making more sense now. Right.
Yeah, this is like Yas Queen, but instead of Yas Queen, you're just like, wait, I'm the queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just change it to Yas Prince.
Yeah. Okay. Right. This is suddenly made a lot more sense now. Right. Because I'm sorry, I was just like, I'm so confused. Like, does she want to marry herself or something? I don't understand.
No.
Right. Okay. Makes a trip.
Go ahead.
Is she the only one that's declared herself as a prince? Sorry. The whole premise is she the only female that has declared herself as a prince?
Yes.
Or have other women also joined the fight?
Actually, yeah, there are a couple of women on the student council, aren't there?
Okay.
Although I don't know if I'd call them princes per se, so much as just duelists.
So there are other people that are not just princes that are also trying to fight for the Rose Bride.
Yes, because she has more power than just being able to pull a sword out of her.
Okay. Picking my brain. I'm like, let's. Okay, this sounds really interesting. I think the best thing I could do is watch this.
Yes, just even for the setting to understand it seems good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I feel like we're just getting further down the rabbit hole, and it's just breaking my brain even further. I don't know how many like.
It's really hard to explain because there's so much happens in it.
Okay.
And
the fact that
there's a whole side arc called the Black Rose Saga, where they don't really deal much with the main duelists for that whole time. It's crazy. It's weird. But that's like that helps you the history of the place.
It sounds like both you and Adam are for this. And
it's a classic. I mean, it's a super classic.
Okay, this is enough for me to go check it out. Okay. Well, poor brain.
This is absolutely like a quintessential anime.
But do not watch the dub, and stay away from the movie. The movie is people turn into cars in the movie. Okay, I don't know how to explain that.
I don't think you can.
Just stay away from the movie.
Let's stop there. Let's go Escaflowne rules. No dub, no movie. There we go.
They turn into cars.
They turn into cars.
That's pretty fair for the 90s anime in general. No dub, no movie. In most cases, you're pretty safe.
Okay.
I tried watching the dub like a week or two ago, and I was like, "What is this garbage?"
I'm noticing a trend with Nasuth's choices.
What?
No, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Oh,
like,
dear.
let's
I like weird stuff. I like weird things. You know.
Yeah, let's summarize it as that. You like really weird shit, dude.
Really esoteric, artsy stuff. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's it for our shows. I think we've all got I from the sounds of it, Adams may have already watched the majority of what's been recommended.
This is a lot of this stuff's my jam. I love it.
I think a lot of it was a little more popular when it came out and has lost popularity over the years.
Yeah, but I definitely need to check out Escaflowne again the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, cool. So let's move on and move on to the supporter questions, wherever I kept those somewhere safe. Right. Before I read out the supporter questions, I want to thank you all. So this is what Seriel says. Before I read out the supporter questions, I want to thank you all for watching or listening this far to our podcast. Please hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment if there's anything you'd like to say. We read them all. So, Seriel asks, do any of you know the anime Duel Parallel Trouble Adventures? And if so, did you like it? It's been forever since I saw it, and I'm not sure if I thought it was good because I just finished Tenchi Muyo and felt it was so similar. So, has anyone seen Duel Parallel Trouble?
I feel I know the name, but I can't remember it.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
I have definitely watched it. This is why I have a list. This is why I use Anime Planet so I can record all this shit, because I can't remember all the shit I watch.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I gave it 4 out of 5. So apparently I did like it, but I cannot remember a single thing of it.
So you liked it, not very memorable.
No. I mean, there's a difference between because the problem is with a lot of series, right? If they're not your first series, they start to bleed together.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying they're opposites. I'm just saying, as a show, you liked it, but potentially not very memorable.
I've just discovered that I actually gave Razafon a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh,
I'm gonna put that down to 1. I'll fix that now. I've fixed it now.
The planet.
I've fixed it. It's
Big
fine.
egg. Big egg.
Right. You done?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. So I'd probably say go watch Duel Parallel Trouble Adventures again, but didn't make this episode at all. So moving on. Some Zephyr player. Last week we talked about the new shows that are starting to air, and while many anime were previewed, it took a bit of insight from one of our hosts to remember a couple of them. While Netflix has a very rough history with live-action adaptations for anime, they do possess some rather good taste for actual anime. With everything from Saturday morning cartoon anime like Shaman King to warm-hearted series like Komi-san, through to the very impressive dark story of Castlevania, what other Netflix-sponsored anime have you seen, and would you recommend them to new viewers as a way to get... Jesus fucking Christ, could you make that end longer? Oh my god.
Basically, can you recommend other anime on Netflix?
Yes. Yes, that is what Thaylien was asking.
Well, I don't have
There
Netflix, so I do not know.
There is one on UK Netflix. I'm just trying to remember what it's called. There's... Oh, God. Do you remember the one where they were mecha in old-timey Japan, and the guy gets like suspended in cryo sleep, and then it comes to Monte? Do you remember that one at all?
Is that the one with the modern day?
Well, future-ish day. Begins with a K. I just can't remember what it's called.
Is that the one with the guy with the mask?
No.
Crap.
Oh. Where is it?
Well, I'd say off the top of my head, Eden Zero. I think that, I don't know if that was Netflix sponsored, but it's one that they've got at least.
It's on there.
It was really good. Obviously, we talked about it in the actual episode, Pacific Rim Black, the Black. So what else do I have? I have anything else?
Dorohedro, Steins Gate.
I don't have anything else.
Still trying to find.
I think they did Ajin. I don't know if it's still on there though.
I've not. It's still on. Well, it's on the UK one. I actually quite like Kekaguguri, or I can't pronounce it. The gambling one. Quite like that one. What's the name of the stupid looking Angel Beats is on here?
Parasite.
They've got Parasite.
No, we don't.
Such a great premise that they just gave up on.
No. No. Oh god, they got BNA. There you go. I'd say BNA. BNA is excellent.
Cool.
Right. Oh my god, seriously, Thaylien. The next question from Thaylien. This week's topic, hidden gems, is something that most would consider highly subjective. Many shows that are in circulation but not getting a lot of attention have a very good reason for not being popular. And as the old saying goes, one man's treasure is another man's trash, or vice versa. Our cast has varying experiences with anime, particularly with their introductions to it. So I'm curious to find out, what hidden gems were you recommended in the past that you then did not enjoy watching, or maybe regretted taking the recommendation?
That's a hard one, because I usually just forget it if I don't like it.
God. Oh, I got an easy one. School Days. That's just so crap. It's so... Never watched School Days. I was forced to watch the whole of School Days. The guy that says, oh, you should watch School Days, you know, he came over to my place. We spent 6 hours watching the whole damn thing. God, I regretted that.
I guess I could go
So
with
bad.
Chobits.
I think you kind of know what you're getting into with something like Chobits, though.
Yeah, but I was still recommended it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it kind of is what it is. I don't think, like, anime is absolutely subjective, and if someone suggests something to you, I think there's a lot of questions you have to ask, like, you know, not just with the genre, because anime is very proud of its, like, sub genres where you're like, oh, it's an isekai, but so they go into a farming game, and also there's no combat, and only 2 episodes are about romance because the rest is comedy about mushrooms. So, like, you know, you're like, oh no, I've already seen one of those last week, I'm not interested. But with anime, I think it's really easy for you to kind of watch the first couple episodes and know where you're going. With other shows like Western TV, a lot of it is like, get through season 1 and then you're good. And that's kind of a hard sell. But the great thing about anime is you could watch like the first couple episodes and be like, cool, this is not at all my thing, and I absolutely hate it. There are very few animes that like you need to get to episode 10 for it to suddenly turn into something great.
Yep. That is too true.
We tend to go by the 3-episode rule here, which is, you know,
that's
not a bad way to do it.
I judge by the intro.
No, to be fair though, judging by the intro is actually a really good. Has my internet turned to crap?
No.
No. Okay, cool. Judging by the intro is actually a really good fair point, because the number of times you watch a series and the intro just tells you the whole plot of the series, it's just like, oh, for the love of God. And more often than not, that is a sign of the caliber of the series. It just, they don't have enough budget to actually make the intro out of anything else, like any original stuff. What was there's one series that's currently airing, and I can't remember, and they're using talking scenes from obvious episodes. And I'm just like, did you just completely run out of budget or something? But yeah.
I'm a super snob. If I start watching that intro, there's signs. There's like a checklist of bingo. Is the character falling from the sky? Is a silhouette of a woman coming down while the main character walks forward? There's so many things that like I'll allow a character standing in an open field as flower petals go by. I'm not a monster.
And the wind blows everything.
And the wind blows. That's cool. I will allow multiple characters falling forward, like a rainbow. I'll allow that. Multicolored smoke. You got it. I'll allow one explosion of a city in the background, right? Like a zoom out explosion, giant white ball. You could do that, but if you use it all together, no, I'm not. I won't even make it through episode 1. I promise you.
Yeah. Cool. Right. That's it for the supporter questions, and now we're going to move on to the what's called community responses. So we just have a few points. As Rugal said in the last week's episode, I agree with Loz. One of the best things about anime is their willingness to try things that other mediums can't afford. Right? That is too true with a lot of the stuff that we end up watching. The second point he raised was, I just watched Miss Kurutsu. Thank you. From the Monster Development Department. I need to know what you guys think. Well, stay tuned for next week's episode, because we will be talking about it. Right, where we do the 3-episode rule of winter 2022. Right? And then Strombus Shell says, wow, it's already been 22 weeks of this show. That's awesome. Thank you, gents, for making my weekends more enjoyable. You're more than welcome. Soon we'll be at the 6 months milestone.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Cool. And now we're going to get onto the fun part of the show, which is the memes. So, Nasuth, do you want to start with your meme?
Let's go to it's a classic. Dragons told in stories back then. Fear me. Dragons told in stories now. Fear me. It's a classic. It's a classic. I brought this because
you love this meme.
I really do love this. I don't know why. But this one was really good. Do wizards get stronger as their hats get bigger? Strange thing to ask. Hey, I like what I like. Demon Slayer character, after getting their entire skeleton shattered, concussion, bisected, eviscerated, bled out, and an eye gouged out for good measure. Oh no! Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good old Clarkson. Cool. So my first one.
Oh goodness.
Right. So it's an arrow pointing to the actress who plays Komi in Komi Can't Communicate. Does anyone else find it weird that these two share their English voice actor, or is it just me? So we got Komi on the left, and we've got, I can't remember the name of the character from Combatants Will Be Dispatched.
I haven't watched that.
These characters are like nothing alike.
Well, so she's very brash and loud and confident.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, and stupid.
I don't know how much they paid her to play Komi-san, but I swear she said, apart from just reaction sounds, the occasional reaction sounds, she must say like 10 words the whole first season.
Yeah.
Good job, that.
To be fair, she does really good reaction sounds.
Some good reaction sounds, yeah.
Yep. All right. The second one is Shonen Jump on Twitter saying, soon you'll be able to show your Shonen Jump love in a whole new way. Exciting announcement tomorrow. You've got all the crowd with their pitchforks ready and everything. It's not NFTs.
That's so good. Oh
dear.
Oh, that makes me happy. Oh my goodness.
Yep. Had to do that one. And then the last one. COVID won't last that long. COVID. You got Magikarp versus Metapod. If anyone's never played Pokemon, at this point in time, Metapod has Harden and Magikarp has Splash. Neither of them are offensive abilities. They don't do anything. So,
and then after they run out of that, they have to struggle to try and attack each other and can end up hurting themselves or failing and doing nothing.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yep. So that's it for the memes.
Oh, my goodness.
Right. That's it for this week's episode. Adam, it has been absolutely lovely having you on the show. I have learned that my entire childhood was a lie.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and I need to relive it in subtitles only. So, but yes, so next week's episode, we got Winter 2022 3-episode rule, where Loz, myself, and Nasuth will be talking about what we've been watching this season so far and what our thoughts are. And yeah, that's it for this week's episode. We're going to do our sign out, and that's it. Yeah, we're all good?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. 3, 2, 1. Kanpai!